Over to you, Madeleine.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We hope you're all doing well this afternoon, and we are inviting you to our session. Today, we're looking at wealth management, and the hope is that after this session, you will get some good ideas as to how you maximize your income. Today, we have with us representatives from the Sagicor group, and we have Ms. Tameisha Hitchins, who is our wealth advisor, and her co-presenter, Loren Edwards, who is also a wealth advisor, and they will be speaking to us on investment instruments that the Sagicor group has for you, as well as Mr. Stephen Reed and Mr. Oryan Small. They are both financial advisors, and they will be speaking to us on life and health insurance offerings that the Sagicor group has to offer. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming. Sit back, pay attention, and get your questions ready. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Hitchins.
Thank you, Ms. Spence. Good afternoon to everyone. And I'd just like to give a hearty thank you for having us, for making this possible and for having us present to you today. As Ms. Spence would have said, I am Tameisha Hitchins. I'm from Sagicor Investments. Hope Road, in particular, I'm a part of the KMA team, which is the Kingston Metropolitan Area team. I have here with me my teammate, Loren Edwards.
Hi, everyone.
She's also a wealth advisor with us. Well, we have been with Sagicor I've been with Sagicor for about 15 years now.
I've been here about 4 years.
Right, but between the both of us, we have at least 15 years worth of experience in investments and or finance, right? And I'm here today to just share a short presentation with you as it relates to you maximizing your income, right? So let me just bring up that presentation now. And yeah. So I'm gonna have Loren start off because we're co-presenting today. And let me just share my screen here. And slideshow from beginning. And
good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you for having us today. All right, so let's get started. So the first question on the slide is, am I maximizing my income? Am I on the right path to building wealth, or am I one paycheck away from financial ruin? So these are some of the thought-provoking questions we'd want you to ask yourself today. What is income? Income is money that an individual or business receives in exchange for providing labor, producing a good or service, or through investing capital. Individuals most often earn income through wages or salary. And there's also what we call passive income, that is income that would be earned from real estate. So let's do a financial checkup. Just like when you go to the doctor and you do a medical checkup, we'd want you to do a financial checkup. In that financial evaluation, you'd want to evaluate your good debts versus your bad debts. So examples of good debt would be acquisition of property, acquisition of a house. Examples of bad debts would be having more than one credit card. Establish an emergency fund. And what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is really saving up at least 3 to 6 months' salary in a bank account or an investment vehicle that is readily accessible to you, like cash. Make a budget and also assess your insurance coverage. Are you able to respond to medical emergencies? And I guess Stefan and Oryan will assist you, will let you know more about this later on. Are you spending more than you earn? So in this scenario, we'd want you to know exactly where you stand, organize your finances, keep records, and track your performance. And least but not least, be disciplined. Being disciplined does not necessarily mean that you can't treat yourself from time to time, but what it entails would be to treat yourself within budget. Evaluate your net worth. Are you walking a tightrope? So in this scenario, we'd want you to ascertain whether or not your expenses are closely matching your income. If it is that you're barely surviving and your head is barely above water, in that scenario, what you may consider is having a debt consolidation, whereby if you have more than one debt that you have to pay on a monthly basis, then a loan officer would be able to consolidate those debts for you, and in that interim, allow you to free up some cash. And with that cash, you could then start what we call the emergency fund. And for those of you who already have enough funds in a savings account, you may consider coming to Sagicor Investments and investing those funds. Evaluate your net worth. What is your net worth? Ideally, your net worth should be positive. It should be assets minus liability, hoping that your assets are more than your liabilities. If this is not the case, as I stated earlier, you may consider speaking to a personal banking officer who will be able to assist you in this regard. Investment opportunities. I think I'll just hand over to Tameisha here for her to do this part of it.
Hello again to the UA world. All right, so as Loren just gave us an introduction to what it is that we want to get into the meat of the matter about, right? So she gave you a foundation, what really we should be looking at, the direction we should be taking as it relates to analyzing our position, our financial position. And right now I'm about to go a little bit deeper into what it would mean to build your wealth after you've seen your situation and began managing it, right? So let's show you how we build wealth. So there's a cycle to wealth creation, right? And you want to create the wealth, grow the wealth, then preserve the wealth. What Loren touched on was you assessing your position so that you may begin to create wealth. And she would have mentioned some very important things like an emergency fund. Emergency funds are very important as it relates to building wealth, because you want to ensure that if there are any hiccups, any glitches along the line. Last year was COVID. Well, last year the COVID pandemic began, and some people may have lost their jobs or whatever. You want to ensure that you have enough cushion to keep you going until you're able to reestablish yourself, hence not tapping into any investments that you would have created or began, for the long term, right? And then you want to continue growing it. So she mentioned discipline. Discipline helps you to form good habits. It's that discipline that will help you to grow the wealth. And then you want to preserve it. So preservation of wealth is dependent on where you choose to invest, how long you choose to invest for, and really and truly your end goal. So what products and services do we have to assist you in preserving, creating, and creating your wealth, right? So like any other investment house, we have fixed income products, we have corporate finance products, we have the Sigma Global Funds, and we have stock brokerage. Whereas I can touch on what a fixed income product is, which most people may be familiar with, you're gonna have the repos, which are similar to fixed deposits. You're gonna have treasury bills. You're gonna have those bonds, those government bonds that would fall into that category. And whereas these are very useful products, you would choose these depending on where you are along the journey of wealth. So if you're looking to preserve wealth, some of these options may be more attractive to you, right? And then there's corporate finance. So what corporate finance really is whenever Sagicor Investment wants to bring a new opportunity to you, we have an entire department that may structure a deal and offer you something. So we may choose to put out an IPO. So many people may have heard of IPOs, which is a company that would want to go public. We would structure such a deal for that company, put it out there, and then we would present it to our clients or prospective clients. You may then at that point in time choose to participate in that structure or not. And these also extend to bonds and any other note, short-term or medium-term notes that Sagicor may have maybe produced for your gain. And then there's a Sigma Global Funds. Many people, I'm sure, have already heard about Sigma Run. So you associate Sigma with Sagicor. Well, the Sigma Global Funds is really a unit trust that is specific to Sagicor investments. And this is one of the most accessible tools and one of the most successful tools that you could use in creating your wealth. And then there's stock brokerage. So stocks, I'm not sure if everyone would have heard of stocks, but stock brokerage is pretty much one of the best tools to wealth creation over the medium to long term. And we're going to discuss this even further. So stock brokerage, why invest in stocks? You invest in stocks because of the potential for capital gains or above average returns over medium to long term. When you purchase a stock and you hold that stock in the company and you hold it for medium to long term, chances are the returns, if you chose a good stock, that is, chances are the returns over the long term will far exceed any returns you would have gained from a repurchase agreement or a regular savings account. Stocks pay dividends and very attractive dividends at that. So when you have a tool that not only gives you the potential to earn while you continue to earn in your 9 to 5, some of these stocks also will give you an extra payment and allow you to participate in any profits made by the company. So this is what Loren would have alluded to when she said passive income, because not only have you already invested in purchasing a portion of a company, but now you can actually gain from any profits or any large transactions that would have produced any gains by that company. And it also helps you to hedge against inflation. So inflation is that little devil that eats into your spending power, right? So you're working hard to put aside your money. So now you want to put it aside somewhere where you can at least combat that little devil called inflation that will forever be there and we have no control over, right? So how do I choose my stocks? Well, one of the ways you can go about choosing a stock is to identify companies with a robust business model and strong leadership. This is especially the case if you're not very savvy as it relates to investments. You'd want to choose a company that is established, has a good track record, and you can probably still see being operational in the future, at least for the next 10 years. And you also want to identify value and income stocks. You need to choose your strategy. Are you looking to gain dividends from what you already have? Or are you looking for a stock that will increase in value over time? You may choose to pick one of that, or you may choose to do a combination. And if so, what combination will that be? Is it more value stock versus dividend stocks or income stocks? That's something that you would discuss with myself or Loren, and we can help to guide you as it relates to choosing those stocks. You also want to identify companies with diverse income streams. This is particularly very important, and a lot of clients or a lot of investors may have seen the importance of this over the last 12 months. You want to ensure that if one income stream cuts off for a company, that they're able to remain afloat from other income streams. So anyone that may have maybe invested in the hospitality sector over the last 12 months, maybe reeling from maybe a loss in value of their investment, because as you know, it is fueled mainly by tourism. So little things like this can bring to light the importance of making a good decision as it relates to purchasing stocks. So what's the stock market like in Jamaica? It has been booming over the last 6 to 8 years. Mm-hmm. And what we decided to do was, despite the fact that there was a downturn in the market last year due to the pandemic, which will always be a talking point because it just had such a significant impact on investments, the economy, everything. So we're seeing where, despite all of that, there are still companies that managed to perform well during the pandemic, during and after. Well, it's not even after, we're still in it. But would have recovered from whatever would have happened last year. And we've listed some of those companies here. And a lot of you may be familiar with these companies because these are some of the older companies. And going back to what I said previous, had you chosen your companies based on the right factors, then you probably would have ended up with 4 out of 5 of these companies, because one seems to be a fluke. Right? But companies such as Salada, Grace Kennedy, Caribbean Cement, and Carreras, those tend to be more consistent with performance. But every now and then you have a company that creeps in with some exceptional performances, like Siboney Group, which to date, nobody can explain why it's up 90%. But as you can see, there are still opportunities out there despite what's happening in the economy right now and in the world. So stocks will help you to gain wealth if you choose your stocks wisely. And we decided to just throw in. So despite the fact that the world went topsy-turvy last year, we're still seeing where the stock market performed exceptionally well over the last 12 months. And hold a sec, oh my goodness. Let me just go back to the slide before. And right, so we're seeing here where, all right, so it performed over 38% for the junior market and over 17% for the main market. So despite everything that happened last year, you're still seeing where the stocks, choosing stocks was still an excellent choice. And to just remind everyone that on the journey to wealth creation, it's not a 12-month journey, it's not a 2-year journey. It typically is a journey over an extended period of time. So you'll see that unless you're just lucky to hit the super lotto, chances are you're going to spend years building up your wealth. And when things like this happen, it may be short-lived and just a blip along the timeline towards retirement or towards whatever goal it is that you're planning for. All right, so stocks are an excellent choice. And then we're going to move to the Sigma Global Funds. All right, so what the Sigma Global Funds is really, it's a unit trust or a mutual fund. How do I get rid of this right here? All right, so what a unit trust or mutual fund is there are pool funds provided by investors who share a common investment goal. Instead of investing on their own, they pool their funds and hire professional managers to manage their investments. So in layman terms, all this means is my money, Loren money, Miss Marjorie's money, everybody's monies are pooled together. You bring it to Sagicor, Sagicor then takes the funds, and we have who refers to as a fund manager, and then that fund manager goes, you know what, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna buy that, sell this, sell that. And the whole aim of doing that is to ensure that the client ends up with a profit at the end of the year, right? So why invest in Sigma Global Funds? Investing in a unit trust is one of the easiest ways to participate in the financial markets. Small and large investors receive the same rate of return. So the first two that I mentioned, all that is really saying is that you can buy stocks, you can buy bonds, you can invest in government paper without actually going out there, seeking the right stock, seeking the right bond, seeking the right paper, and you'll be able to participate by via the unit trust or the Sigma Global Funds. And this is really positive because not everyone can afford to go out and buy those securities outright. So you may have some people who really want to start, but they don't have $5 million, they don't have 200,000 US, which can be a barrier to entry for many people. So what the global funds really do is to put it in a space where it's accessible to all and everyone, right? And if you decide that you're going to buy a portfolio that's invested in stocks, if the man with $50 million make 5% in the equity portfolio, the person with $5,000 also makes 5% in the equity portfolio. So it's not prejudice to the amount of funds that you have. It allows individuals to access investment instruments they may not be able to access on their own, which is pretty much what I said earlier, where there are no barriers to entry, with you having to have the minimum amount for you to go out and do it as an individual. And it's available to everyone. So here at Sagicor, we don't want anyone to believe that they cannot create wealth because they don't have $2 million to start. We're open to you starting with at least 500 Jamaican dollars or 50 US dollars. And from there, we will work with you to develop the habit and the discipline to make continuous deposits to your investments so that you may reach your goals. And we just put here just the overall, the 8-year performance of most of the portfolios that we offer. And what this shows is that more often than not, investing in a global fund, you would end up in a positive position over the medium to long term when you look at all the accumulated percentage returns year over year. Some of our best performing portfolios happen to be the equity portfolios because those are the ones that pretty much expose you to the most risk. And the more exposed you are to risk is the more likely you are to earn higher returns. You may also have periods during this journey where you may see some losses, which, as I said, happened last year. And once again in 2013, once before that in 2013. But overall, you would see that year over year with the positive returns, you would have still been in a much better position than had you put it on a fixed deposit for 2%. So just to give you some visuals, as it relates to, I decided to use the Sigma equity. I find that when people can visualize what they could possibly earn, it makes a difference, right? So had you come in 2014 on January the 1st and said, hey, Tameisha, hey, Loren, here's 50,000 US. This is all I have. I'm going to rest this here and then come back to you in 2021 and let me see what I have. Your 50,000 in 2021 would be worth $231,189.82. Your 200,000 would have been worth almost $1 million. So you're looking at $924,757.83. And if you did get a 500,000 from the sale of some property or something in 2014, and you said, "Here, Tameisha, rest this year, we're going to go out in the fields and continue to slave," this is what you would be seeing right now without any effort, just a deposit. You would now be seeing $2,311,894.54. So you see, it's a very good vehicle. Over time, you would be delighted with the returns that you would see in a mutual fund. So we're just going to look, in wrapping up, we're going to look at how we stack up with the competition, right? So despite the topsy-turvy market last year, the Sigma funds still outperformed many of the other funds out there from our competitors. And as you can see, of the top 10 performing funds, we had 7 out of the 10. So we still managed to hold our own with our fund manager, who manages quite a bit of the unit trusts that's out there in the market. We have the largest portfolio. And as you can see here, we are still able to give the majority of our clients some positive returns on their funds. And our commitment to you, Sagicor Investment takes the time to develop one-on-one relationships with our customers. We try to be as accessible as possible to our clients. So you have an account with us, you're going to have a direct number to us, you're going to have our email addresses, you're going to have our mobile numbers. We pride ourselves on friendly and efficient service. So Loren and I don't stand alone. We have a team, and our team is very helpful. We have a good support team as well, and we'll try our best to ensure that our clients are well taken care of, right? We provide advice focused on your needs. So we're going to put out there some like a link where you can provide us with your contact details, because we don't deal with you give us a call and say, "What must if I make some money?" we need to have detailed discussions and conversations with you to ensure that we come up with a plan that's best for you, just to ensure that you're not curtailed on your journey to wealth. We have a strong team of professionals ready to answer your questions. As mentioned before, we've been in the financial industry for a while, and pretty much everyone in our unit has been in finance or investments for at least 10 years.
Correct.
So we have a strong team and we have a great track record. So we pride ourselves on the personal touch. And I would like to thank you for listening to us today. And I'm open to all your questions after the next presentation.
Thank you, Loren and Tameisha. Before we go any further, I just want to advise persons to post your questions in the chat, and we'll take them and feed them to the presenters after. Okay, so next we are going to Stefan Reed and Oryan Small, who will now take us through some of the health and life insurance offerings they have. Thank you.
Hi team, good afternoon. Firstly, let me say thank you for having us here. We really appreciate the invite. So as mentioned before, I am Stefan Reed and I'm from Sagicor Life, Jamaica. And along here with me today is also Mr. Oryan Small. So just a quick backdrop as to who we are. Oryan has been in the financial industry for the last 13 years. I have been with Sagicor for the last 5 years. So put together, you know, we have quite a wealth of knowledge as it relates to financial management and financial planning. So what we'll be doing here today is to have a conversation as to what it is that is actually needed to ensure that your families are financially secure, just in case there is an economic shock or trauma that suddenly comes up onto the family, as we'd have experienced with COVID-19 over the last year. So we just want to ensure that each and everyone is able to respond adequately and just as quickly, just as how life comes at us quickly. So just a moment here, guys. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And then after that, we will go into the presentation. So the screen is coming up. Slideshow, and we're going from the beginning. All right, team, just give me a moment, please. Resume slideshow. All right, just a moment here. So, team, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Why do we do what we do? Why do we spend 8 hours a day at work, which totals to roughly 40 hours weekly, 160 hours monthly? Why do we do what we do? Is it for the pure love of the job? Is it because we feel fulfilled? Is it because we enjoy coming in and talking to our coworkers? That is a part of the reason. But the main reason that we do what we do is because of the earning potential that we have, right? So we get up and we brave traffic each and every day just to ensure that, hey, we have an income, we have money to provide to our families. We do this so that we ensure that bills are taken care of. Now, money is an integral part of our relationships. It's an integral part of a relationship that parents have with children. It's an integral part of a relationship between a husband and a wife. Without money, we would basically be seriously unhappy. Now, a lot of persons may say, no, money is not all that important to us. However, if it is that we remove money from the equation, how are we actually going to be feeling? So just a moment here, guys. I'm just trying to have my PowerPoint presentation come up so that we can go further with the presentation. Just one moment here, guys. Just a moment. All right, just a moment here, guys. Please, are you hearing me? You're hearing me, Isaac? Are you seeing the presentation?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Just a moment, guys. I'm not sure what's happening with my computer. Just a moment, guys. Just one moment.
As we wait on him to fix his presentation, just want to remind attendees that you have an opportunity to win some prizes. So go to the chat. There is a form for you to complete, and it gives you an opportunity to win some interesting prizes. So make use of that opportunity, please. And remember to post your questions in the chat as well.
All right, awesome. Team, are you now seeing the presentation?
No, we're not seeing it.
All right, I do apologize greatly for this. I am now bringing it up. And I should be the one that's flying through the presentation as a millennial leader. Are we seeing it now?
Yes, we are.
All right, awesome.
But it's not on slideshow.
Let me put it on slideshow from beginning. All right, here we are. I do apologize, team. So let us go. So we did our whys. Why is it that we spend 8 hours daily at work, 40 hours weekly, 160 hours monthly? The main reason that we do this is because of money. Without money, it is proven that we can often be anxious, we can be unhappy, we can even spiral into some forms of depression. Money is the driving force behind going to work, because each and every one of us would like to ensure that our families are well taken care of and that our dreams can actually be achieved. So without money, what happens? Money is one of the leading causes of anxiety. So guys, let's think about it. Let's say that we're unable to receive just half of our pay. Let's say that the government comes to us and say, hey, this 25th, we're not going to be paying you your full salary. We're going to be paying you half of the salary. How would that make you feel? How would you go to work the next day? What conversation would you be having with your family members? What conversation would you be having with your children? It's your daughter's 16th birthday this month, coincidentally. However, you are not getting the income that you would have expected. How would you feel? Lack of money can actually lead to you feeling anxious, and it can lead us to being unsettled. Money or lack of money is one of the leading causes of shattered dreams. Meaning this, that tuition fee of $400,000 to get that engineering degree, that tuition fee of $75,000 to get that baking degree over by UTech, oh, sorry for calling the competitors, guys, that tuition fee of completing your communications degree, that fee of going on your dream vacation, that fee of seeing your dream home completed. If it is that we don't have money to do that, we would definitely have our dream shattered. And this is for all the persons on the call that may be in a relationship. Money is one of the leading causes of divorce. As I said earlier, money is an integral and intimate part of any relationship between any couple, right? So we definitely need to ensure that we have money so that our relationships can remain happy and afloat. Now, this isn't me prioritizing or putting value on money to ensure that relationships stay happy, but really and truly, if it is that we don't have money, either person can become anxious, upset. For men, if it is that we feel as if we're not providing or we're not protecting, we can become depressed, we become angry, we pick fights in the home. If it is that a woman feels as if she's not contributing to the household, or she's totally dependent on her husband, it can cause her to have some feeling of resentment. It can cause to her picking a fight as well. So this would ultimately lead to a divorce. So what we want to do is ensure that money is in your family. So what are we going to do today? Today, we're going to be talking about keeping your promises and ensuring that you're securing your future. All right. So we already spoke about who am I? I'm Stefan Reed from Sagicor Life Jamaica, along with Oryan Small. And what we do is we help persons to achieve their financial goals. The topic today is financial planning, financial well-being. So Tameisha and Loren would have spoken about you doing a financial checkup, and they would have alluded to you doing your checkups and ensuring that your assets or your net worth is actually growing. So we do a medical checkup. So we definitely want to do a financial checkup where we evaluate good debts and bad debts, as would have been explained by Tameisha earlier. So is your net worth growing? Net worth is assets minus liabilities, what you owe versus what you own. All right. So diagnosing your financial wellness. Are you spending more than you earn? Where exactly do you stand? Are your finances organized? We want you to keep tracks of your financial records and your performance at all times. All right, guys, but I won't delve into that, as Tameisha would have already spoken about that. So what we want to do today is to talk about the 4 cornerstones of financial planning, which include your financial security, which is family security, critical illness protection, liquidity, disability, and your retirement. So it's really 4, but disability and retirement is really tied into one function. So what comes to your mind when you think of financial security? Are you thinking of today or next week when you receive your salary? Or are you thinking of what happens if it is that I don't receive a salary? What happens if it is that I am no longer in the picture? How will my family survive? Where will we go? How is the mortgage going to be taken care of? How will I pay my children's tuition fees to complete that medical degree, that law degree, that engineering degree, or that philosophy degree? Whatever it is that your children dream about becoming, how will that happen if one person is removed from the relationship? So what we definitely want to do is to ensure that you are covered in these 4 areas. Your liquidity, which speaks to your investments, your retirement, which ensures that you are maintaining the lifestyle when you stop working, or should you become disabled, what happens then? And definitely family security. So liquidity is access to cash, investment opportunities, financial emergencies that may come up on you, and you do this over a period of time. So again, Tameisha would have actually spoken on that. So we're just going to skip past that at this point in time. Retirement. What is the lifestyle that you're currently living at this point in time? How much money do you spend at the supermarket? What are your bills like? What do you do for fun? What's your recreational budget like? How much money will you need once it is that you become retired? Will you be able to maintain all the things that was listed above? Recreation, going to the beach, going to a movie, something as simple as buying a book monthly to read because that's what you enjoy doing. How will you combat inflation? What are you doing? Are you just saving your money monthly, or are you contributing to a pension plan? Here at Sagicor, we offer pension plans where you can contribute anywhere between 5 to 20% of your annual income. So when it is that you become retired, you have an income that is still coming in. Our pension plans, they perform extremely well, as it's really invested into the Sigma products that Tameisha would have actually mentioned earlier. So you know that your money is actually being invested, growing, and you're going to be provided with a return when you reach retirement age. Now, the beauty about contributing to a pension plan is that your pension comes out before your salary is taxed, meaning that if it is that you are earning $150,000 monthly and you are contributing $5,000 monthly towards your pension, your salary will be taxed at $145,000, meaning that you're actually paying less taxes to the government. And I know that each and every one of us, we definitely like to contribute to our pension plan and pay less taxes. So we need to definitely have a conversation as it relates to your retirement plan and what it is that you want to be doing when you reach 65. Do you want to be worrying about where the income is going to be coming from? Or do you want to be that cool grandparent that the grandkids come over to? You prepare them some nice cakes, you bake jam with them. And I'm just talking about memories from my grandmother, right? That I would have actually enjoyed. So that is what you would actually need to do, is start a pension plan. And Oryan and I, we can definitely speak to you one-on-one after this presentation as it relates to the type of pension plans that we offer here at Sagicor. Right, guys? So disability. How much coverage is enough? What does it mean? What impact will inflation have? Again, difficult to maintain or build retirement without a savings plan. So disability speaks to what happens if it is that you become disabled. Each and every one of us, we are out, whether by public transportation or private transportation, we take a risk each and every day. So what you need to do is ensure that you are strictly covered or fully covered as it relates to your ability to combat a disability where you're unable to work. And at Sagicor, we provide financial solutions. So for this, we definitely recommend that you should definitely put at least 10% of your annual income towards a coverage plan that would protect you from being disabled, that would ensure that your lifestyle can actually be maintained if it is that you should become disabled. Family security. So guys, this is where the bulk of the conversation will be centered around. Financial obligations to your family. Income that your family will need. Impact of inflation. Protecting your estate. Now, insurance definitely can help as it relates to this. So I want you to think about the financial obligations that you have to your family. I want you to think about the estate that you have worked so hard to accomplish. What happens if it is that a partner in this relationship is no longer able or is no longer around? What happens then? How will you provide for your children? How would you ensure that the home that you would have worked so hard for to purchase, how can you ensure that you can pass this on to your children? Again, the 4 cornerstones. Equity-linked options, which is really your investments, your family security, which speaks to your personal accident, your AD&D, your disability income, and your life insurance. These definitely can help you as it relates to ensuring that your financial obligations are covered and taken care of. So guys, here at Sagicor, we recommend that you have anywhere between 10 to 22 times your annual income in insurance coverage so that you can protect your estate. So that is, if it is that you would have been called home early, let me knock on the wood, you will have money passing on to your beneficiaries so that they can transfer the property into their name. If it is that you are no longer around and you have that income provided to your family can clear off the mortgage and ensure that they retain the home. Not only that, if it is that you have your financial security in place, which is your insurance protection, you can ensure that your family will maintain the lifestyle that they would have been accustomed to. You are providing for your family from beyond the grave. Your children can complete their education. Your wife, their husband can take care of the financial needs. They can go to the supermarket without worrying. They can still purchase that Honey Nut Cheerios cereal that they loved when you were here. They can still go to the movies. They can still go to the beach. They can do everything that you were doing when you were alive from beyond the grave. Do you have adequate insurance? This is what we actually recommend. Gross times your salary. So if it is that you're making $1 million or $1.2 million, you would definitely need to have $12 million in insurance protection, right? You can pay off your existing loans. You can ensure that your education and extreme illness is combated. You can also ensure that your lifestyle is actually maintained. So this is just a breakdown of what it is. If it is that you have insurance and someone should pass and Sagicor would make a payout to your family, this is how it would actually look. Just a moment here, guys. So another conversation that we definitely would like to have is centered around critical illness protection. Critical illness comes at us fast. It is something that plays a major role in the lives of Jamaicans every single day. If you visit the Jamaica Cancer Society the website for the Jamaica Cancer Society, you'd realize that they say 1 in 11 women will develop breast cancer. So if it is that we have 11 women on this call, there's a chance that someone may develop breast cancer. As it relates to prostate cancer for men, 1 in 9 Jamaican men will develop prostate cancer. However, this is not something that you have to worry about. Yes, it's bad. However, Sagicor definitely can help. We would recommend that you would have anywhere between $15 to $18 million in critical illness protection. Reason being, again, if it is that you visit the website for the Jamaica Cancer Society, they will tell you that on average, it costs roughly $6 to $8 million per annum to treat a critical illness such as cancer. And you would definitely require anywhere between 18 months to 36 months of treatment. Not only that, here at Jamaica, we are a hub for strokes. We're a hub for heart attacks, kidney failure. Not sure if it is that you guys would have heard about what is known as renal dialysis. That's something where if your kidney fails, you need to go to the hospital twice a week. That can run you up to $150,000 per session twice a week. So that's $300,000 weekly, $1.2 million monthly, right? Times that by 10, that is $12 million just to ensure that you are alive. Here at Sagicor, we definitely can help by providing you with critical illness protection, right? We definitely can offer you plans that protect you against 30 illnesses. So the major illnesses such as cancer, stroke, heart attack, kidney failure, brain aneurysms, coma, paralysis, loss of speech, whatever it is here, we definitely can have a conversation as it relates to protecting you against that. Not only that, our plans also come with the investment opportunities that Tameisha would have mentioned earlier. So you are definitely protecting your family, you're combating inflation and saving towards the future. So that is the end of my presentation, team. If it is that you have any questions, you can reach out to us or you can complete the contact form so we can reach out to you and also ensure that you are eligible for the prize at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. I hope we all have gleaned some very important information, some of which I know we all have. Some of which we can recollect is the importance of creating wealth, growing wealth, and preserving wealth. We were introduced to instruments such as the Sigma Global Fund, which is an easier way to start. You start off small and grow big. And there is also the option for buying stocks, which is a little more risky, but over the long term, also the yields are very good. Also, Mr. Stefan spoke about the importance of ensuring that you have your family covered and secured, ensuring that you have the 4 cornerstones of financial security, which is liquidity, disability protection for retirement, and insurance. And so, having heard all of that, we have 2 questions, and I remind persons to post your questions in the chat, and we will feed them to the presenters. So the first question for the panel is, can I open an investment account with Sagicor without opening a bank account? I suppose they're asking if they can do an investment, any form of investment without having a bank account.
Yes, you're able to open an investment account without a bank account. We have many clients that are only investment clients and vice versa. So there's no tie to the bank I mean, it does offer you some flexibility from time to time, but you are able to open an investment account without a bank account.
Okay, thank you for that response. I also have a question here. To purchase stocks, what's the minimum amount you need to have?
All right, so technically there's no minimum amount, right? You would pretty much just have to be able to purchase. So there was a steadfast rule before, hard and fast rule, that said it had to be 100 units of whatever stock it is that you're interested in. So each stock has a different price. So you have stocks that range from the thousands to stocks that are cents. So you would pretty much just have to identify that specific stock, and then we'd work out what would be required. But we always say at least $5,000 for you to start out with a stock brokerage.
Okay, thank you for that response. I have another question here from the audience. This one says, how can self-employed persons get a pension plan? You didn't hear?
So Stefan, that would be for you.
Okay,
All
good
right, guys.
afternoon. I'll be taking the question as it relates to
Okay.
insurance and investment. So, how do a self-employed person get a pension plan? If you're a self-employed and you need a pension plan, what we'll do, we just sit down and look at your income, right? Because if you're self-employed, you must be paying yourself, right? We don't expect you to just live from the business like that. So you're expecting to take an income from whatever business that you are doing. And then we talk about putting aside between 5 to 20% of that income to start a pension plan. Right? So self-employed person can have a pension plan. And all we need is just your ID, a TRN, and to analyze the finances to see how much you want to put aside.
Okay, and a follow-up question to that for a self-employed person. Can a self-employed person take out health insurance?
Sure. Yes, we do have health insurance for persons that are self-employed. Also for persons that are working with a company but they don't provide health insurance. We have our individual health insurance plan that caters for that need, and also they can add their family to that health insurance as well.
Next question from the audience. Besides pension funds, are there other options available to reduce the taxable amount of your salary?
All right. All right. As it relates to pension fund and tax, it's really a benefit that the government, offer to persons who are contributing to a pension fund, that they do not tax your full income, right? They tax just a portion that is not contributing to the pension. We do have a long-term investment plan on the Sagicor Life side that if you have it for more than 5 years, it's not taxable, right? But it's really a 10-year plan. But if you have it for at least 5 years, it's not, the government won't tax the return that you would have get on that investment, right? But it's a long-term investment plan.
And I just want to pause here again.
Ms. Spence, I just wanted to add to what Oryan said, and just like the life segment as well, some investment options that you do choose, which would have been some of the ones that I would have mentioned to you just now, they do offer you a tax-free benefit. Specifically stocks. A lot of people don't know that stocks, the earnings on stocks or the capital appreciation on stocks, it isn't taxed by the government. So if you make 500% return, that entire 500% return is yours. It's not taxed any at all. And even in the Sigma Global funds, what you will be seeing is that depending on how long the investments are there, untouched, you will also receive a tax-free benefit if it is there after 5 years as well. So even though we won't be touching, that we won't say that there's no further tax to the income. Whatever it is that you choose to invest, you can ensure that you maximize your returns by putting it in these options and leaving it there to take advantage of the lack of withholding tax.
Okay, good. Just want to remind persons to complete the questionnaires. It gives you an opportunity, the questionnaire gives you an opportunity to win some very interesting prizes. And there's also another contact form there that you can complete if you need to have further dialogue with the Sagicor representatives for investment options. All right, the next question here is, what is recommended for risk-averse persons? So I guess the question here is, those who are risk-averse, what kind of investment options you would recommend for them?
All right, so first, what we will do is we'll try to qualify you to see if you really are risk-averse. Because time over time, people come to us and say, hey, I'm risk-averse or I like risk. And after doing the qualifications, they realize that they're moderate in risk, you know? But let's just say we do qualify you and you are risk-averse. Then what we would do is we're not necessarily telling you that we wouldn't want you to still be exposed to some degree of risk. What would be different is the percentage of your overall portfolio that is exposed to risk. So the majority of it would be on more fixed income based conservative type investments, which would include fixed deposit like repo like products, investment grade bonds may be included in that as well. And you may want to stick with the government paper type instruments. So you're gonna have maybe government CDs would be a better option for you. The unfortunate thing is with this, they're typically lower on the lower end as it relates to yields and returns. So your returns or your interest payments would be not very significant percentage-wise. And if you choose to do this with the Sigma Global Funds, we will stick towards the income type portfolios. And these portfolios are invested in some of the securities that I would have mentioned before, just now, as in the bonds and the repos and etc. So we would be more along that line.
So I just wanted to add to that the risk-averse person must also realize that year-to-date inflation is about 1.7. So if it is that you're earning a return that's less than 1.7, then you're really not earning a return.
Yeah, you're actually
so
losing.
That risk-averse person needs to bear that in mind as well.
Okay. All right. Okay, and yes, that is critical. She just told me a while ago. It's key to consider, because sometimes when some persons, some of us, we may not want to take the risks, but to do the proper analysis and assessment and determine what we can really afford to do is more important than to say that we may be choosing the less riskier option that may not be providing the right yield. Yeah.
And just to add to that, most risk-averse people are dead set on saying that I need to preserve my principal, not realizing that their principal is not being preserved because whatever it is that you're earning is still less than your spending power. You know, than the decrease in your spending power. So inflation does decrease your principal actually.
Right.
So that's important to note.
Sure does. How soon would you suggest that someone starts to invest? And as well, how soon should one start a pension plan?
You start investing as soon as you have an income. So let's just say you're at UA. If your parents give you money every now and then, you can start investing. So the earlier you start to invest, is the better off you will be in the future. And I'm gonna let Oryan take the pension portion, but even if you don't have pension and you're saving towards retirement, you find that you're way ahead of the game if you start from your first job. Just start something. It doesn't have to be anything huge. You can make it a 5,000 or 2,000 a month. Just start something, because you're ahead of the game and you put yourself in a better position. Over time, when everything accumulates, you'll be better off when you're ready to retire. So that is my take on when to start. And you can start with your kids. You can start teaching them, hey guys, every time I give you $100, give me back 50. So that's a good way to develop that discipline, and just start as soon as you can.
Right. Ryan?
Yes, I think Tameisha would have, explain it. Good. Explain it very good. Well, so as you start working, it's best for you to start save for retirement. Same on to start working, right? Because as I always tell people, if you're saving, for example, $10,000 per month, or even $20,000 per month, when that time comes for you to retire, right? If you're just getting back the same $20,000 or same $10,000, that cannot take care of your monthly expense. So if you start early, right, compounding effect kick in, and the longer you're saving for, the better the return will be in the long run. So as soon as you start working, start saving. I start saving and contributing to your pension. I remember I opened my first investment account when I was attending college, when I got some money from student loan, a grant, right? And I used that money to open my first investment account, right? And it did me well, right? So you have to develop discipline from early, because if you don't have that discipline, when you get older, it's gonna be hard to create those new habits of trying to save and trying to, say, boy, if I couldn't save $10,000 per month, no. When I reach 40, I'm going to try to save $50,000 per month. It can't work. It can't work. So start early to develop those savings habits.
Start early and you put in more now and you earn more later. Yes. Okay, the next question is, can someone living overseas open a life and health insurance policy here?
Okay, if the person is living overseas, we are only licensed to do business in Jamaica, right, for Jamaican residents. However, the person have vested interest in Jamaica, so the person have property and family here, and the person comes to Jamaica, visit Jamaica from time to time, then we can do business. However, the application must be witnessed by a licensed financial advisor, right? Not a notary public, but a licensed financial advisor in Jamaica.
Okay. All right. I just want to encourage persons to post your questions. That's the last question. But if you have further questions, remember to.
Sorry, before I go though, if a person is living overseas and they have relative here, like their parents, right, they can actually be the payer of those personal life insurance or critical illness insurance. So person living overseas can, take out insurance for their parents, because the parents that are here are children, or whatever the relative may be, those persons will be able to sign, right? So person overseas will just be the payer.
Okay, so you can take out a policy for somebody who's here, but you can't take out a policy here if you're living overseas for yourself.
Yes.
Okay. All right, persons are asking that you post your contact information on if you could put up your contact information on the screen, they would be happy. And I also want to encourage and remind persons to complete the form in the chat. There are two forms in the chat. There's one that allows you to win some interesting prizes. You complete that one and the Sagicor representatives will be contacting you later to tell you what you have won. And also there's another one for follow-up. If you want to be contacted and to explore the investment opportunities or any other opportunities with Sagicor, investment or life insurance opportunities, please complete that form and they will contact you. Okay, we seem to have come to the end of our session. I'm not seeing any more questions at the moment. I just want to thank the Sagicor team for taking the time. I know your schedules are busy, so we want to thank you for taking the time to come and share your information with us, your products and your offerings with us. And we look forward to be making contact with you and you making contact with us on the offerings that you have. Now, this is an initiative. This session is, as I said before, is the third in a series of 3, an initiative that was born from the administrative officers of the faculties on campus and the Western campus. And we had a series, we started it off in celebration of Administrative Professionals Week. So this, as I said before, is our final session. We hope you will be hearing from us next year. We promise it won't be as many sessions. And before we go, I just want to thank my colleagues, Ms. Asenet Sharp from the Faculty of Sport, Ms. Rosalie Simmons from the Faculty of Science and Technology, Ms. Indira Ajuda from the Western Campus, Ms. Stephanie Pinnock from the Faculty of Social Sciences, Mrs. Peter Gay McEwen Lewis from the Faculty of Law, Mrs. Sophia Johnson Hales from the Faculty of Liberal Studies, Ms. Sharon Roberts from the Faculty of Medical Sciences, and Ms. Terry-Ann Collins-Frey from the Faculty of Science and Technology. Thanks to the persons who came out, all the persons who came out and participated here today. We want to thank you for coming. We look forward to having you in other sessions. And we want to thank the MITS team who have been so supportive. They have been at our beck and call each time we call, and then we just want to thank Ishmael and his team, and to thank everyone who have supported us in these endeavors. And we look forward to having future sessions. But before we go, I just saw another question coming in here. It says, does Sagicor provide investment opportunities for nonprofit organizations?
Well, the investments opportunities that we offer are far and wide reaching. Anyone can participate. So we don't typically have bundles for specific demographics, but the thing is, pretty much anybody can participate in any of the products that we have. So there's a way for us to make sure it suits you, and there's a way to utilize it to ensure that you maximize the benefits.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Again, thanks to our team of ladies, IT unit, Sagicor, and more than anyone else, the participants. Thanks for coming. Good afternoon, I'm Marjorie Spence, and we thank you for coming again. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having us
Bye.
again.
Bye. Thanks
Bye.
for having
You're
us.
welcome. Bye-bye.